Nothing like some Pixie Stick Pedialyte to really get you hydrated for a long weekend of coaching baseball at the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. Enough about me. Let's talk about this game. The Washington football team defeated the New York Giants 30-29. It's 11:58. Game just got over about 20 minutes ago. I do not know, as someone who wanted to be early on the WFT and pick them to potentially be a surprise to make it to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. I'm not really sure how am I how I'm supposed to think about this game. But let's start with the Giants. Daniel Jones played amazingly. Daniel Jones looked like a franchise quarterback. The only problem is Daniel Jones has these games every now and again that makes you think like, oh, maybe he is the guy. And then he'll have like 2 or 3 in a row where he just like stinks. And you're like, oh, yeah, there's the real Daniel Jones. So I'm still not sure what the real Daniel Jones looks like. If he can look more like this guy all the time. I mean, he is super athletic, super fast. He ran for 95 yards, I think, in a touchdown. He's got an above average arm. Sometimes he just looks bad. Not today at all. I think it helped that the receivers were running wide open the whole game. I mean, I didn't get to see much of the first half. Watched the whole second half. Seemed like Sterling Shepard, every time he caught a ball, there wasn't a Washington defender within 5 yards of him. Don't know how that happened. I'll get to that when I get to the Washington aspect of this, but Saquon's still looking like he's not 100% or not super confident in the knee, but he had a couple good runs. I mean, their line held up pretty well for the most part against a pretty good defensive front that the Washington football team has. And again, the Giants, I mean, they lost by a point. Tough way to lose. Daniel Jones threw a touchdown to Darius Slayton, hit him in the hands, and he dropped it. And it seemed like when that happened, momentum just completely shifted. I don't know, but if Daniel Jones can play more like that, I feel like the Giants will put themselves in a good position. But again, this is his 3rd year, so if he doesn't play more consistently like this guy, I mean, his time with New York is going to be coming to an end. Washington football team, again, same thing I just talked about. The biggest thing is someone who is really high on them to get into the playoffs and cause some havoc is the fact that their secondary is atrocious. Like, it is terrible. It is the worst. Again, second half, I don't know how many busted coverages. I don't know how many times Sterling Shepard caught a ball because someone tripped over their own feet or someone thought there was going to be a safety over the top and there wasn't. Like, it was just pathetic. Again, Darius Slayton got wide open down the seam. No one within 15 yards, 10 yards of him, and a ball just hit in his hand. Like, the Washington, I thought their defense was really good, and I think people think that just because their defensive line, like Chase Young and Montez Sweat made some ridiculous plays getting into the backfield to cause tackles for losses. Like, their defensive line is great. Their secondary is awful, awful. And I didn't watch last week against the Chargers, thank God, but what I saw today, their secondary is bad, like very, very bad. Offensively, Terry McLaurin is that dude. Like, what I saw today, I mean, he's different. He's got different attributes. Like, I'm not saying he is a copy of this guy, but he reminds me, or it's almost like his career where he is, if he stays with Washington, is going to set up almost like Larry Fitzgerald, where he plays very, very well without having a great quarterback, or a DeAndre Hopkins, like, puts up numbers, and DeAndre Hopkins never really had a great quarterback until he got Deshaun for all those years in Houston, and Larry Fitzgerald never really had a great quarterback. He had a couple years with Kurt Warner, a couple years with Carson Palmer, but never had like a stud. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald played 17 years. Like, Terry McLaurin, if he stays in Washington, might set up like that, because when was the last time Washington had a really good quarterback? Was it Joe Theismann? I think so. Taylor Heinicke played well, made some crazy throws, very exciting to watch. He reminds me of the guy that actually just blew his hip out of his socket last week for Washington, Ryan Fitzpatrick, which if you aren't a fan of Washington and you turn on a Thursday night football game and you think it's going to be pathetic because it's, the Washington against the New York Giants, and it turns out to be really exciting because you have Daniel Jones and Taylor Heinicke going throw for throw, and Taylor Heinicke just, outplaying his physical skill, I guess. Like, reminds me a lot of Fitzpatrick, and then it sunk in even more when Taylor Heinicke, they go up, right? So Washington has a 2-play drive where they score to take the lead, and then they force a 3-and-out, or they force a punt by New York. So now they're going to run some clock. I think at this point they were up a point. They're going to run some clock and either potentially run the clock out or give the Giants the ball back with, not that much time left to do anything. And Taylor Heinicke throws an interception, like, at their own 20. So the Giants got the ball and were already in the red zone and ended up kicking a field goal to go ahead. And then Taylor Heinicke, they get the ball back, and he drives them into field goal range to win the game. Like, that is, if that's not Ryan Fitzpatrick-esque, I don't know what is. So with Taylor Heinicke, how far is Washington go? I'm not sure. But damn it, it's going to be exciting. And honestly, Fitz isn't getting surgery on his hip. He's going to rehab, going to be out for over 2 months. Is he going to get his job back? Probably not, because Taylor Heinicke's just a younger version of him. Antonio Gibson's really good. De'Ami Brown, I could see why he wasn't a first-round pick. He really didn't impress me. I feel like he's not really into the NFL speed of the game yet. So maybe that's why he dropped me. Like, he doesn't look like Jamar Chase. He doesn't look like Waddle. Like, it makes sense why he was a third-round pick, but I think he's got tons of potential. Terry McLaurin's really good. Ricky Seals-Jones, he had a good run with Arizona. He's there. He had his first catch today, and it was a fantastic touchdown to give the Washington football team the lead with like 4 minutes left in the game before the interception. I don't know. Great Thursday night football game, but if you're on the Washington football team and potentially live betted them when they were giving 1.5 in the second half, not a great day for you. And again, if you're someone who thinks Washington is potentially going to make a Super Bowl run, not a great day for you because they went toe-to-toe with a team, I'm going to be honest with you, that I thought was probably potentially the worst team in the NFL coming into this game in the New York Giants. Daniel Jones, can he string some of these games together going forward? Who knows? Saquon, does he get back? Washington, does their secondary figure it out? And does Taylor Heinicke keep balling out? And can he not turn the ball over, make some turnovers, like Fitzmagic-esque turnovers going forward? Those are the stories for these two teams. Great game. I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed now. Again, stay hydrated, my friends. Watch a video, subscribe to the channel, click the thumbs up. All appreciated. And I'll see you sometime this weekend talking about more football.